Hi everybody and welcome to Thursday's maths lesson. So today we're going to be looking at liquids, things like water, and measuring that, and measuring how the capacity of things, how much things hold.
Yep.
Okay, and we'll be using these things which are called measuring jugs. Okay.
Exciting.
Now, when we fill these with water and things like that, we pour water in it. You get much like we had with the weighing scales, you get a scale on the side. Now they're pretty much always different depending on the size and shape.
Absolutely, yeah.
Of
Even the ones in school we have are all different.
Yeah.
Aren't they? Yeah.
Okay, so one thing you have to really do carefully is look really carefully at the scale. So if we imagine this measuring jug is full up to this line, okay, so Mr. Lake, can you tell me how many millilitres of water is in there?
500.
Yeah, we can clearly see it's full up to the line 500. That is easy. What if, Mr. Lake, okay, what if the water only went up to, let's say, this line? What if it was just that much full of water? What would that be?
Well, these long lines are going up in hundreds, aren't they? 100, 200, 300. And then halfway between each one is a smaller line, which must be 50s, because that's half of 100. So 150 millilitres.
Absolutely, okay. So let's look at this one. So we've got another scale here. So we can see it's full up to this line. So can we spot, because there it doesn't say what number these lines are, does it?
It gets tricky with that, doesn't it? But it looks like it's in 50s again to me.
Yeah, it could be 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. So if we go up to here, 500 and then another 50, it must be
550.
good. And when we're writing that, we're just going to write 550 ml. Okay, that means millilitres. Okay, now it goes up to 1,000 millilitres there. Okay, now if we filled that to 1,000 millilitres, what would be another way of saying that?
It would be 1 litre.
Yes, we could just write 1,000 millilitres is the same as 1 litre, okay?
Just like how 1,000 millimetres is the same as 1 metre. There's a pattern with all these measurements, isn't there?
Absolutely. Okay, so let's look at the next measuring jug. So we've got yet another scale on our measuring jug. So, Mr. Lake, how much water have we put in there?
I know, so these long lines again, hundreds, small lines, 50s, 50, 100, 150.
Yeah, okay. So there we go. That is 150 millilitres, okay? Even though it doesn't say it, we can work it out. Okay. Now, please join me over here.
In the measurement area.
In the measurement area, okay? So, here we are. So, I want to look at the capacity of things today, okay? So that's all about how much something can hold. So what I have done is you may recognise this is my coffee cup or my tea cup. I drink various beverages out of it. Now I've filled it's totally full of water. I'm going to pour it into one of these measuring jugs to see how much water this holds. Now before I do that, Mr. Lake, competition time.
Okay.
How many millilitres do you think this holds?
I'm going in blind here. 250 millilitres.
Mr. Lake says 250. I'm going to say 330.
Very precise.
Yeah, I think I quite often see it on the side of cans.
Yeah, you do.
330 millilitres. Right, so which one shall I use? Oh, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to use... Let's use this one to get us started. So let's check. Right, there we go. So we've got my So again, like Mr. Lake was talking about yesterday with the weighing scales, you might get different measurements, but this one says millilitres here. So let's pour that in and without spilling it. Well, I never. Who'd have thought it,
That
hey?
rarely happens.
So that is 400 millilitres. We were wrong.
We were.
But we weren't that. We were
No.
kind of close. But, you know,
And it's always harder to estimate your first one, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
now we've got an idea. we can estimate a bit better now, I think.
Okay,
So
we know our cup is 400 millilitres. Right, let's move on to this lovely shaped one. Okay, so this time I'm going to go for this cup. Okay, so if we know this one's 400 millilitres, what's your estimate for this one?
I think it's got to be smaller. Will it be that much smaller? I don't know. Because it's still quite wide. I'm going to say 280 millilitres.
Okay, I'm going to go 279. Now I'm going to say 250.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Well, let's look in here. Okay,
We can't see the numbers on the video particularly well on
Okay,
this one,
well-
but this is going up in 50s as well.
The big issue now, Mr. Legg, is I feel like I'm going to spill this. Oh yeah, there we go. Right. Oh, and it is actually, so I can tell you, it's between the 200 and 250. I would say about 220 millilitres. Would you agree?
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
About that. It's hard to be completely perfect. Okay. So that's 220 millilitres. That's 400. Now we're going to look at this bottle of water. Okay. Now actually this one's an interesting one because I can already see on the side it actually tells me how much
I
it
just
holds.
saw that. Yeah.
So this, but this is kind of cool. We can.
Yeah.
This is a useful thing. You'll see this on bottles. Look out.
Yeah.
What is the capacity of that bottle? So it actually tells me this is 330 millilitres. So shall we just check?
Yeah, I was going to say my estimate is 330 millilitres. And I was hoping you hadn't noticed, Mr. Febb, because I thought I was about to be really impressive there.
Well, let's see. So it should be, there's 300. It should be about there.
Yeah, now the small lines, if I'm right here, go up in tens, don't
so
they?
310, 320, 330, 340, 350. So let's have a look. It's a nice sound, isn't it?
It's quite relaxing.
Ah, now, interesting. That.
Wow, so...
This is actually an interesting thing. So that has gone above. That is about 355 millilitres. So it's more than we thought.
It's more than it says. We need to write a letter to them, I think.
The reason for that is, I've just realised, is I filled it right to the very top. Mm-hmm. Whereas if we buy a bottle of water or...
They never fill it right to the top, do
There's
they?
always an air bubble, so they only ever fill it up to there. So they put in 330, but the actual capacity is actually more like 355.
Yeah, bottles can hold more than
Yeah.
we usually put in them. Yeah, very interesting.
Interesting. So we're learning. Great. Now, let's move over to the
Teaching zone?
teaching zone. We've been in the practical zone. It's like the Crystal Maze. I love
It
the
is,
Crystal
isn't it?
Maze.
There we go.
Right, so if you have measuring jugs at home, I'd like you to get various containers, maybe like a fruit shoot bottle, a cup, maybe your cup, maybe mummy or daddy's cup, and with their help, carefully check the capacity, see how much water they can hold. Any kind of container you have, really, how much water can you get in it? That'd be very interesting. Okay, but not everyone's going to have measuring jugs. Okay, do you have a measuring jug at home?
I do, yes. I do have a couple. I only.
But you're a master baker, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but not everyone will, and if you don't, that's okay. It's okay because we've got some questions for you to do now. The questions might be a bit like this. Okay, so if we look at this, so it says how much does this bottle hold? Okay, it's like one of those big bottles of Coke, right? And it says 2 centimeters, 2 kilograms. Well, straight away it can't be that, can it?
No.
Because that's about how long something is.
Yep.
That's about sort of the mass of something or how heavy it is.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, 2 litres, 2 metres, or 2 grams. Okay. Now this is a real question from a real year 2 exam. Okay, so at home, can you work out which one it must be?
I think.
Okay, so hopefully you will realise that it has to be 2 litres because that's what we measure Coca-Cola in, liquid water. Okay?
Yeah, that is length, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so is that. And then this is when we're weighing things, how heavy or light things are. Yeah.
Okay. And that's, so just to give you an idea, now this, I didn't actually have one, but this is 1.5 litres to give you an idea. So yeah, sort of family size bottle of Coke is usually about 2 litres, so a bit bit bigger than this, okay? Now, what I'd like you to do now is in your resources you have these questions, which are real questions from year 2 tests, okay? And I think you'll quite like them. Now, we've got here the mild questions, so I'd like you all to have a go at that, okay? And that's okay, that's enough. You don't have to do any more. But if you want to challenge yourself to the harder ones, we've got the hot questions here. And yeah, if you want to, have a go at them. So have fun with this, and we can't wait to see how you get on.